When Ms. Lively later objected to this behavior, Mr. Baldoni's response was, "I'm not even attracted to you."
In a moment that had Hollywood buzzing, Blake Lively found herself at the center of a brutal roast from none other than Bill Maher, the host of Real Time. What was supposed to be a friendly, light-hearted appearance on the late-night show quickly spiraled into chaos as Maher turned the tables, delivering one of the most unforgettable public humiliations in recent TV history. His jokes were razor-sharp, his wit ruthless, and Blake, known for her glamorous Hollywood life, was caught completely off guard. Maher, ever the provocateur, didn't hold back. Within minutes, he shattered the carefully curated image she had spent years crafting. But what had she done to deserve this? Was it all in good fun, or did Maher have an agenda? No one could have predicted how quickly the dynamic would shift. Blake Lively had meticulously built the perfect Hollywood persona. The beloved actress from Gossip Girl, the adored wife of Ryan Reynolds, and the doting mother of three. She was the quintessential girl next door, her flawless Instagram feed offering glimpses of an enviable family life and a thriving career. Hollywood adored her. She embodied elegance, charm, and success. But beneath the surface, cracks were beginning to show. And as Blake prepared for her upcoming appearance on Real Time with Bill Maher, she had no idea just how different this talk show experience would be. In a moment that had Hollywood buzzing, Blake Lively found herself at the center of a brutal roast from none other than Bill Maher, the host of Real Time. What was supposed to be a friendly, light-hearted appearance on the late-night show quickly spiraled into chaos as Maher turned the tables, delivering one of the most unforgettable public humiliations in recent TV history. His jokes were razor-sharp, his wit ruthless, and Blake, known for her glamorous Hollywood life, was caught completely off guard. Maher, ever the provocateur, didn't hold back. Within minutes, he shattered the carefully curated image he had spent years crafting. But what had she done to deserve this? Was it all in good fun, or did Maher have an agenda? No one could have predicted how quickly the dynamic would shift. Blake Lively had meticulously built the perfect Hollywood persona. The beloved actress from Gossip Girl, the adored wife of Ryan Reynolds, and the doting mother of three. She was the quintessential girl next door, her flawless Instagram feed offering glimpses of an enviable family life and a thriving career. Hollywood adored her. She embodied elegance, charm, and success. But beneath the surface, cracks were beginning to show. And as Blake prepared for her upcoming appearance on Real Time with Bill Maher, she had no idea just how different this talk show experience would. The show's host, Bill Maher, was notorious for his no-holds-barred commentary on politics, culture, and celebrities. He had built a reputation for asking tough questions and making his guests squirm. Despite her years in the spotlight, Blake Lively was no match for his biting humor. As the interview approached, Blake remained optimistic, believing she could maintain her polished, controlled image no matter what Bill threw her way. After all, she had charm, confidence, and the perfect smile to deflect anything, right? When she arrived at the studio, she was met with enthusiastic applause. The audience, thrilled to see one of Hollywood's most beloved stars, expected an entertaining and light-hearted chat. Little did Blake know, Bill had already decided this would be no typical interview. As the show began, Maher wasted no time, immediately zeroing in on the question that had lingered in the public's mind for years. Blake's seemingly flawless, squeaky clean image. So Bill started, a mischievous glint in his eye. We've all seen the photos, the interviews, the Instagram posts. You've got that whole America's sweetheart vibe down to perfection. But tell me, how much of it is real, and how much is just good marketing? The audience chuckled, sensing where this was headed. But Blake, she wasn't prepared for just how sharp his words would be. Blake smiled, trying to brush off the comment with a quick laugh, but her unease was palpable. Bill leaned in, lowering his voice just enough to make the room fall silent. You've built this perfect little brand for yourself, haven't you, Blake? he said smoothly. The ideal wife, the perfect mother, the flawless actress. But who are you when the cameras aren't rolling? Or is it just another performance for the masses? For a brief moment, Blake's usually composed face flickered with uncertainty. The audience caught the shift. She wasn't prepared for Bill to go straight for the jugular. This wasn't just about answering questions. It was about dismantling the carefully curated image she had worked so hard to build. The atmosphere in the studio grew tense as he sharpened his words, targeting not just Blake's public persona, but her authenticity itself. You know, Blake, I've always been curious, he continued. You've been Hollywood's golden girl for so long. Picture perfect in every way. But here's the thing. Perfection is a tough act to keep up. Don't you ever feel the pressure to be flawless all the time? Or is this just who you are? He raised an eyebrow, his tone dripping with skepticism. Blake, who had always exuded confidence, shifted uncomfortably in her chair. She tried to laugh it off, responding with a practiced smile. Well, I think everyone struggles with that, right? It's just about finding balance. Oh, balance. Bill chuckled, his voice laced with sarcasm. That's what you call it. Juggling 5 film roles, an Instagram empire, and a near-perfect. What started as a light-hearted conversation had quickly turned into a full-scale roast. The playful banter had shifted into an unrelenting interrogation, and Blake was struggling to keep her guard up. Her reputation was in free fall. As the interview continued, it became clear that Bill wasn't going to let up. Blake had been humiliated on live TV, and the fallout was immediate. Social media exploded with reactions from both fans and critics. Some sympathized with Blake, calling Bill's humor harsh and unnecessary, while others saw the segment as a well-deserved reality check. Memes circulated almost instantly. Clips of Blake's uncomfortable silence and Bill's sharp jabs were shared thousands of times, trending worldwide under hashtags like #BlakeLiveyRoasted. The scandal was everywhere. Gossip columns, late-night shows, and major news outlets all dissected the interview. But it wasn't just Bill's comments about her seemingly perfect life that captivated people. What really struck a nerve was the rare glimpse of vulnerability she had shown in front of the cameras. Blake had always maintained a perfectly curated public image, but now she was exposed. Suddenly, people were asking questions they had never considered before. How much of Blake's perfect life was actually real? Was her relationship with Ryan Reynolds truly the fairy tale it appeared to be? Or was it just another carefully crafted illusion? Even Hollywood insiders began weighing in. Producers, directors, and former co-stars shared their opinions, some anonymously, suggesting that Blake's girl-next-door persona had always been a bit of a stretch. The perfect Hollywood marriage, the flawless public appearances. It was all part of a meticulously managed brand, they claimed. Behind the scenes, she was just another celebrity trying to maintain an impossible image. By the time the full interview aired, Blake's reputation had taken a serious hit. Fans who once adored her were now questioning everything they had believed about her. She had gone from Hollywood's golden girl to the subject of widespread ridicule. Was she truly as perfect as she had led the world to believe? Or had the carefully constructed illusion finally begun to crumble? There was something darker lurking beneath the surface of Blake Lively's redemption attempt. In the aftermath of her public humiliation on Real Time with Bill Maher, Blake found herself in an entirely unfamiliar world. The persona she had spent years cultivating, the perfect Hollywood star with the perfect family, was now in ruins. The carefully constructed image of the happy wife, doting mother, and glamorous actress had been exposed as nothing more than a meticulously curated performance. The backlash was immediate and fierce. Social media erupted with criticism, memes flooded the internet, and even her most loyal fans began questioning whether they had been sold a lie all these years. The harsh truth had come crashing down around her, and for the first time in her career, Blake felt completely vulnerable. She had always prided herself on her ability to control the narrative, to keep the public at arm's length while maintaining an image of perfection. But now, with the world seemingly turning against her, the walls she had so carefully built began to crumble. Desperate to escape the relentless scrutiny, Blake retreated from the public eye, going into hiding to regroup and figure out how to recover from the damage. But deep down, she knew the truth. This wasn't something she could simply ignore or hope would blow over. This scandal was bigger than anything she had ever faced, and if she wanted to survive it, she would have to fight for her redemption. For weeks, Blake Lively was a ghost in the media. She disappeared from the spotlight, avoiding interviews and evading the paparazzi. Her once thriving social media accounts went silent. No new posts, no polished family photos, no behind-the-scenes glimpses of her career. The absence was deafening. Fans were left to speculate. Was Blake retreating out of shame, or was she planning something more calculated? Hollywood's golden girl had vanished, leaving behind a void that only fueled more rumors. But inside her camp, Blake and her team were anything but idle. Behind closed doors, they were working tirelessly, not just to repair the damage, but to salvage everything she had built. Then, after weeks of silence, Blake made her move. She released a statement she hoped would begin her path to redemption. But this wasn't just a simple apology. It was a carefully crafted attempt to reshape the narrative. In an open letter, Blake addressed the controversy head-on. She acknowledged the now infamous interview with Bill Maher and admitted to the pressures of maintaining a flawless public image. "I've always tried to be the person you think I am," Blake wrote. "But the truth is, I spent so much of my life trying to live up to an image." Would the public accept her confession? Or was this just another carefully staged act of damage control? "That image has been carefully shaped for me. Somewhere along the way, I lost sight of who I really am, and I'm sorry for that." Blake Lively's apology, though heartfelt, was a risky move. She attempted to take responsibility for the parts of her image that had been false. But she also shifted blame, pointing to external factors like the media, the pressures of fame, and the unrealistic expectations placed on her as a public figure. "The media has shaped me into someone I'm not," she wrote. "I spent years fighting to keep up with an impossible standard." Blake framed herself as a victim of the Hollywood machine, a woman trapped by the very image that had made her famous. She promised to be more authentic moving forward, vowing to show the world who she truly was. It was a powerful statement, carefully designed to tap into the public's empathy. But would it work? The reactions were mixed. Some of Blake's fans rallied behind her, praising her honesty and willingness to acknowledge the carefully curated persona she had built. They saw vulnerability in her words and viewed the statement as a crucial step toward redemption. Others, however, were far less forgiving. "Too little, too late," critics scoffed, accusing Blake of playing the victim after years of reaping the benefits of her perfect image. To them, her words felt more like an attempt to control the narrative rather than a genuine reckoning. The public, it seemed, wasn't easily swayed. The question remained, was this the beginning of Blake's redemption, or just another carefully staged performance? In fact, some felt that by blaming the media, Blake was merely deflecting responsibility, refusing to fully own up to her actions. Her PR team scrambled to contain the backlash, flooding the media with follow-up statements in an attempt to soften the tone and reassure the public of her sincerity. But the more they tried to clarify her intentions, the more it seemed like Blake's comeback was falling flat. The public's patience was running thin. People were asking questions Blake couldn't easily answer. Was her apology genuine, or just another calculated attempt to salvage her brand? Had she ever truly been the person she portrayed to the world, or had it all been a carefully crafted performance? Then came the real turning point. Blake's marriage to Ryan Reynolds, long considered one of Hollywood's most beloved couples, was suddenly under intense scrutiny. Fans had always seen them as the epitome of the perfect Hollywood love story. But as Blake attempted to reframe her public image and expose her vulnerabilities, people began to wonder. Was their marriage part of the illusion too? Was their picture-perfect relationship as authentic as it seemed? Or was there something more behind closed doors that Blake wasn't ready to reveal? As Ryan remained conspicuously silent, speculation only grew. The once idyllic facade of their marriage was beginning to crack, and the world was watching. The image of Blake and Ryan began to feel like yet another carefully curated piece of the puzzle. As weeks passed, it became clear that the public was divided. The harder Blake worked to repair her reputation, the deeper she seemed to sink into a hole she couldn't escape. She could no longer return to the polished, perfect version of herself. The Hollywood Golden Girl image was beyond repair. And as new interviews surfaced, some from former co-stars and colleagues, the cracks in Blake's carefully crafted persona only deepened. More stories emerged. Accounts of her behavior on set, whispers of how she had maneuvered her rise to fame, and behind-the-scenes anecdotes painted a picture of someone far more calculating and strategic than the effortlessly charming star the public thought they knew. Despite her best efforts, Blake found herself in a position where no amount of apologizing could erase the damage. The more she tried to explain, the more questions piled up. Was the woman the world saw on screen ever truly the real Blake Lively? Or had her entire career been a performance? One long, calculated act? As the dust settled, one thing became painfully clear. Blake Lively had become a cautionary tale about the dangers of living up to an image. And now, it seemed, the redemption she so desperately sought might never come. Blake Lively's final chance for redemption. Blake had endured a relentless media